Hey, and welcome to another daily cinephile vlog. I wasn't able to get to this yesterday, but I did see the new episode of the Falcon and Winter Soldier. In the first episode, I felt like there wasn't enough going on. Second episode, it's starting to have a lot going on. At least in the terms of what is expected from something from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And especially something that's not going to be completely different from the other movies, or something that's not, like WandaVision, basically. Because this is obviously not going to be like WandaVision. It's not going to be a completely different style and completely, its own thing entirely, like an entirely new thing. No, it's much more structured like the other Marvel films, and that means we get to see some action, and the action sequence here is very good. There's actually a fight on top of two semi-trucks. We see Falcon, we see Winter Soldier, we see the introduction of the character, and I'm gonna forget the name now, but we also see the new Captain America, played by, I'm gonna forget his name too. What an awful vlog, just no research done. This is just general thoughts, but I'm honestly forgetting the name. I know it's the guy who was in 22 Jump Street, and that the other guy is playing the character, I want to say Battlestar. I believe that's the character, which is an actual character from the Marvel comics, which is being brought to life in film. Now, are these characters going to be bad people? Are they going to be misunderstood people? I think they're going to be more misunderstood. I don't think this Captain America is necessarily going to be a bad guy. They try to introduce him in this episode. They explain that he's won, I believe it was 3 Medal of Honors. He has all these accolades, great, pretty much the American triumph as far as being in the military. So he was chosen to be Captain America. They don't really say if he was a super soldier, but I'm assuming they probably did. They don't really explain it. I don't know if they go into it. I don't know if it's meant to be assumed or what, but, he can throw that shield around the exact same way that, Steve Rogers could. So I guess, yeah, maybe is a super soldier. But basically, he has all the appearance of being a Captain America, at least in the eyes of the military, or at least America, the government, I guess, whoever decided to give him the shield back after Falcon or Sam gave it to the Smithsonian. I think it's interesting that there is going to be a new Captain America. It's going to kind of mess with audiences who are used to Steve. I don't think this is someone who's going to be kept as Captain America. I don't think they would do that, as if this character will stick around. I'm not sure, but I think, there's some possibilities with it. One of the ideas I was thinking is maybe he's going to be kind of taking, with like modern times, some of the instances of, I guess, people who are in the service like that, who are often part of certain circles in their private life that kind of, it can reflect badly in what their profession is. I'm talking about being like radicalized online, which has happened. And I'm wondering if that's going to be what they're going for, because they already are introducing this group, which is supposed to be like this new world order, trying to bring things back to what it was before the blip happened, because they felt that things were actually better then. Now, is that actually what they're doing? They actually have this character in it who is portrayed by the lady who was in Solo. That's what I recognized her from. She played one of the characters in Solo. So I'm wondering if that actually is their motives, or if there is something else to that, if we're going to learn a little bit more about them. Marvel tends to throw some different things at us as far as tricking the audience, making us think these are the bad guys when they're really not. That might happen here too. As far as that character Captain America, though, I think it would be a little interesting if they maybe just kept him a little misunderstood, but didn't necessarily make him evil. Like I said, my only idea is that maybe he's already been radicalized, and maybe he actually is a part of this group, or has similar beliefs to them, or maybe the beliefs are actually flip-flop between them both, and it's actually him who has these beliefs of, things were better before the blip, and the other group doesn't. I mean, who knows? But right now, they at least are giving enough personality to those new characters that I think they got a better introduction here than the last episode, which, the Battlestar guy, he wasn't even in the last episode, and Captain America is only shown in the last few minutes. We finally have Sam meet up with the Winter Soldier, which, I always have liked the interactions between them both. We didn't get a lot of it in the original movies, but we got a tiny bit of it in Civil War especially. So I'm glad to see them kind of doing that again. It is very much like what you would see in an 80s buddy cop movie, so it's good back and forth. I think that was something that the actor even brought up. Anthony Mackie, I think, said it was going to be similar to 48 Hours. And I can see that. I can see where they took a lot of influence from that movie. And I'm all here for it. That's kind of what I was hoping with the first episode, and I'm glad they go back to it. There's also a lot of interesting stuff that they bring into this about race. Not that Marvel has never brought it up before. I mean, certainly in Black Panther, a little bit here and there in other movies, but for the most part, it seems to kind of have a very broad view of it, or at least, in the terms of history, it's a little more broad. I don't know if anything besides Black Panther has really dug into it or challenged the audience, or at least really reflected on current events. This show really does. This episode really reflected on that, and it was kind of cool to see. It's nice to see them brought to a much more real-world perspective. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has always been a little bit like in the real world, but a lot of the villains, a lot of the agencies are made-up names that are meant to, be a stand-in for other things in the real world, but they're allowed to do their own stories and not necessarily bring up every single historical event that happens, previously or currently. I mean, like, for instance, I doubt the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going to go into the pandemic. I don't think that's going to happen. But there's other important things like social issues that they have tried to bring into it. But like I said, for the most part, it's been pretty broad. Hasn't been very strong. It doesn't seem like... just because, those topics can be controversial, and I think they're just, I don't think they want to be controversial, but I also, want to take that risk if they can. But, in turn, it doesn't really turn into a risk. But here, it seems like they are actually trying to dig into that a little bit, and there's a moment where, like, the cops show up, and I actually thought that little moment was pretty good. I actually thought, yeah, this is, it definitely gives you some different emotions and things that that you've seen in the news, different things that have happened in the past few years, and I'm like, all right, so this is definitely trying to reflect on that kind of thing, and yeah, I think that is kind of what made the episode better. But besides that, like, again, I feel like we're still doing a very slow burn to what's really going on with the story. I already knew that Zemo was going to be brought back into this series. He was foreshadowed in the very last few minutes, so he still isn't really part of it, and he hasn't really been mentioned up until the last few minutes of this episode. Sharon Carter, still not in the show. Hasn't been seen yet. Was mentioned what happened to her a little bit after Civil War, how she was considered an enemy of the state, kind of for helping Captain America. So I guess they found out about that. So that we're still waiting on. And like I said, we're getting some things about the villains and what their plan is, but we're not getting a huge idea of what their true message is, or at least their motivations, besides the fact that we're told, yeah, they want things to go back to what it was before the blip. And like I said, I kind of wonder if that's true or not. We'll see. As of right now, I feel like that answer is going to be a little too easy, especially since the main villain, I don't think, is being portrayed that way, or at least the villain at the moment, which I said is that actress who was in Solo. Not really sure that's what they're going to end up doing. I question it. But I like the guy that they got for the new Captain America, though. He reminds me of, like, he kind of is a little bumbling, and he definitely has the persona more of someone who you would typically expect from the military versus what Steve Rogers was, because, he was never really meant to be the embodiment of someone in the military anyway, just because maybe in classic terms of it, I guess, from, the time that he was in the 40s, maybe he was more reflective of that. But I always felt like he was meant to be a character that wasn't there, wasn't supposed to be there, but stood for something even greater, as far as what he was trying to do. He was there with like a different purpose, I felt. And he said, he'd never fit in, and you can kind of get that from his character. So I feel like this character is way more like he would fit in with the military, not like how Steve did. So they're definitely showing some differences between him and what Steve's persona is. And I think that's interesting because you get a much more cockier Captain America this time around. I almost called him Mr. America. Maybe I can call him that as like to differentiate the two, to differentiate him from Steve. This is Mr. America. I don't know. But I like that they kind of explain why he was given the mantle. And I don't know though. I don't think he's going to end up being like a secret villain exactly, unless they go that route of like, oh, he was actually radicalized and his private life, he's part of some scary groups. I don't know if that's what they're going to end up doing. I think it would be a little more interesting if they just kind of make him misunderstood with the other heroes. I mean, he kind of threatens Falcon at one point. He's like, if you're not going to help us, then you better not get in my way. And, but at the same time, I think a lot of that just could be misunderstood. Plus, the person that's on his side, Battlestar, I don't think they're going to turn him into a villain. We don't get a whole lot of him, but I don't think they would make him a villain, especially since, in the comics, he actually was a hero. This guy who's playing Captain America, very clearly to me, is not going to end up being Captain America in the movies or in other franchises or anything. So what they'll end up doing with him if he's not Captain America, I don't know. It would either be he's a villain who's just thrown out later, or he becomes something different. Having not read the comics, I'm sure there maybe is already an explanation out there, but like I said, I got more into the second episode, but I'm still kind of waiting for a bigger bombshell to be dropped, or a bigger moment, or a thing to really start bringing me in. I kind of felt the same way with WandaVision. The first two episodes didn't really bring me in, other than just the concept was interesting. It was like, just watching it as like a TV show, which is what it kind of was. It was just trying to be a typical 50s or 60s sitcom. I was like, I'm enjoying it for that, but I'm not really enjoying it beyond that. Like, there isn't really much more for me to grab onto, because I know there's something here, but I don't know what it is yet. And I appreciate the mystery, but it's just a little different when you're not binging and when you're not seeing it as a full movie. You got to wait each week, and you just kind of, I don't know, it makes me, once the better episodes come out, or the stronger episodes, or at least the ones that start to dig into the full story, it makes me not appreciate the earlier episodes as much. And then I kind of forget about those littler parts that were still good in them. Like, I feel like the little moments in this episode, I'm going to end up forgetting if they're not mentioned again. And then once we get to other better episodes, I'll just completely forget about them, which is too bad. But that's TV. Looking forward to episode 3, though, especially since it seems like Zemo's finally going to come back. Thanks for watching this. Let me know what you thought about the second episode of The Winter Soldier. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, in fact. Leave a like if you want. I'd appreciate it. And remember to subscribe, especially to my main channel, and use that bell icon, because YouTube is trying to make my videos get beaten up just as much as Winter Soldier's arm gets beaten up in this episode. Thanks for watching.